Hello and welcome to Decision 2024. Today we have Republican nominee Senator John James of Michigan with his running mate Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri versus the Democrat nominee Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts with her running mate Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey. It is now 7 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of Georgia, it is too close to call. Elizabeth Warren currently leading in the state. Indiana, projected to go to John James. Kentucky, projected to go to John James. South Carolina, projected to go to John James. Vermont, projected to go to Elizabeth Warren. This is former Senator Bernie Sanders' home state. Virginia, too close to call. Elizabeth Warren has a lead in the state. Here's the current electoral map thus far. James leads 28-3 with 29 pending electoral votes. As the Indiana Senate race, Mike Braun is the projected winner. Out of the Virginia Senate race, Tim Kaine is the projected winner. Out of the Indiana Governor race, Greg Pence is the projected winner. Out of the Vermont Governor race, T.J. Donovan, the Attorney General of Vermont, is the projected winner. This is a gain for Democrats in the governor races. It is now 7:30 and the following states have poll closings. Out of North Carolina, it is too close to call. Elizabeth Warren has a lead in the state. Out of Ohio, it is too close to call. John James has a lead in the state. Out of West Virginia, it is projected to go to John James. Out of Virginia, it is now being projected to go to Elizabeth Warren. Out of Georgia, it's still too close to call. Elizabeth Warren still has a lead in the state. Here's the current electoral map. John James leads 32-16 with 49 pending electoral votes. Out of the Vermont Senate race, this used to be Bernie Sanders' seat until he passed away shortly after the 2022 midterms. Phil Scott appointed current incumbent Senator David Zuckerman to the seat, and his voting record was not up to par as what many people had hoped for. And Phil Scott decided to run against him and has successfully flipped Vermont's Senate seat from blue to red, though it is very likely that he will most likely vote to the left of many Republicans. In the West Virginia governor race, Mac Warner is the projected winner. It is now 8 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Alabama, John James is the projected winner. Connecticut, Elizabeth Warren is the projected winner. Delaware, projected to go to Senator Warren. Washington, D.C., a state that has never voted red in its entirety, has voted for Elizabeth Warren. Florida, too close to call. Elizabeth Warren has a lead in the state. Illinois, projected to go to Elizabeth Warren. This is former President Barack Obama's home state. Maine at large, Maine at large, too close to call. Warren has a lead in the state. Maine's first district projected to go to Warren. However, the second district is projected to go to John James. Maryland, projected to go to Elizabeth Warren. Massachusetts, projected to go to Elizabeth Warren. Mississippi, projected to go to John James. Missouri, this is his running mate's home state. Missouri is projected to go to John James. New Hampshire, too close to call. Elizabeth Warren has a narrow lead. In New Jersey, Elizabeth Warren is the projected winner. This is her running mate's home state. Oklahoma, projected to go to John James. Pennsylvania, too close to call. Elizabeth Warren has a narrow lead in the state. Rhode Island, projected to go to Elizabeth Warren. Tennessee, projected to go to John James. Ohio now being projected to go to John James. He is winning the state roughly by 8 to 9 percentage points. North Carolina is still too close to call. Elizabeth Warren still has a lead in the state. Georgia, too close to call. Warren has a narrow lead in the state. Here's the current electoral map. James leads 92-87 with 69 pending electoral votes. The Connecticut Senate race is projected to go to Chris Murphy. He has won re-election. In the Delaware Senate race, it's projected to go to Governor John Carney. Tom Carper decided to retire in 2024, and the incumbent Delaware governor decided to throw his hat into the Senate race and has won big. Out of the Maryland Senate race, Ben Cardin is the projected winner. He has won re-election in the Maryland Senate race. In the Mississippi Senate race, Roger Wicker has won re-election. In the Missouri Senate race, this is Josh Hawley's seat, but he well, he won the nomination, but he was handpicked by John James as his running mate, so they had to find a replacement. And they had chosen current Governor Mike Parson, who could have ran for another term as governor, but was chosen to run in Hawley's place, and he has kept the Senate seat red. Governor Parson will be going to the Senate in 2025. Out of the Rhode Island Senate race, the man with the best last name ever, Sheldon Whitehouse, is the projected winner. In the Tennessee Senate race, Marsha Blackburn is the projected winner. In the Delaware governor race, son of former Vice President Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, has won in the Delaware governor race. Missouri governor race, former Secretary of State of Missouri, Jay Ashcroft, is the projected winner. He will be Missouri's next governor. In the New Hampshire governor race, Chris Sununu has been re-elected to a, I think, 5th term. It is now 8:30 and the following states have poll closings. Arkansas projected to go to John James. Georgia is now have a call. Georgia is now being projected to go to John James. North Carolina is now being projected to go to John James. Out of Florida, it is still too close to call. Elizabeth Warren has a lead in the state. Out of Maine at large, Elizabeth Warren has a narrow lead in the state. Out of New Hampshire, too close to call. Elizabeth Warren has a lead in the state. Out of Pennsylvania, it's too close to call. John James has a narrow lead. It has swung from the Warren column to the James column. Here's the current electoral map thus far. James leads 130 to 87 with 57 pending electoral votes. Out of the Massachusetts Senate race, this was Elizabeth Warren's seat, but she was the Democrat nominee, and Charlie Baker swept this election easily, flipping the Massachusetts Senate race red. Out of the New Jersey Senate race, Bob Menendez has kept his seat, though by a lesser margin than what a lot of pundits had given him. A lot of people thought he was going to win by 10 plus, but looks like he's won by 7 to 9. Out of the Ohio Senate race, a state that is turning more and more red as every election cycle goes, Sherrod Brown has won re-election in the Ohio Senate race, though it was a lot closer election than what people gave it credit for, as he was facing off against a very popular lieutenant governor. Out of the West Virginia Senate race, again, another seat that a lot of Democrats had going blue. A lot of pundits actually had going blue, but John McBride has narrowly beaten Joe Manchin by 2 to 3 percentage points. A very tight race as Republicans were targeting some major seats this election cycle. This could end up being a Republican sweep at the end of the day. We don't know, as we can now say that the Republicans are getting close to. So far, the strategy that Republicans were going in the Senate races have paid off so far, targeting Massachusetts, West Virginia. They flipped those states, targeting Vermont. They flipped that seat. Though right now, Florida, it is looking like Florida could flip at the end of the day, though we don't know. Republicans and Democrats both were targeting that seat, as Rick Scott very popular, but Wayne Osama very popular as well. We could always see what happens at the end of the night. Out of the North Carolina governor race, Josh Stein is the projected winner. This is the seat that Republicans were trying to flip back red, but it looks like the Attorney General has won this seat by 3 to 4 percentage points. It is now 9 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of Arizona, it is too close to call. Elizabeth Warren has a lead in the state. Out of Colorado, it is too close to call. Warren has a lead in the state. This is Bernie Bro country. Out of Kansas, John James is the projected winner. Out of Louisiana, John James is the projected winner. Out of Michigan, it is too close to call. This is John James' home state. He is currently leading right now. Out of Minnesota, it is too close to call. Elizabeth Warren has a lead in the state. Out of Nebraska, it is 4 out of their 5 electoral votes are projected to go to John James. However, the second district is too close to call, but James is currently leading. Out of New Mexico, it is too close to call. Elizabeth Warren currently leading in the state. New York, the home state of Donald Trump, well, the former home state of President Donald Trump, Elizabeth Warren is the projected winner. Out of North Dakota, John James is the projected winner, as well as in South Dakota. In Texas, it is too close to call. John James has a lead in the state. Out of Wisconsin, it is too close to call. John James currently leading. Wyoming is projected to go to John James. Florida, too close to call. Elizabeth Warren still leading in the state. Maine at large, too close to call. Elizabeth Warren still leading in the state. New Hampshire, too close to call. Warren still leading in the state. Pennsylvania, too close to call. John James currently leading in the state. He's broken 50%, though that could always change at the end of the day. Here's the current electoral map. John James leads 157 to 114 with 159 pending electoral votes. Out of the Minnesota Senate race, Amy Klobuchar has won re-election. Very popular senator in Minnesota, despite the George Floyd protests back in 2020. In the Nebraska Senate race, Don Bacon is the projected winner. Deb Fischer pledged not to run for a third term to the Senate, and a lot of Republicans were looking at Congressman Don Bacon to fill in that role, and he chose to run one big in the primary, and it looks like he's one big in the Senate race, though a lot of pundits thought this was going to be a close election. In the New Mexico Senate race, Martin Heinrich has won re-election. Out of the New York Senate race, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is the projected winner. She unseated incumbent Kirsten Gillibrand in the primary, and as a result was already, as a lot of pundits already had her penciled in as the next senator from New York, and she has won big, not having a real opponent in the Republican Republican side of things. In the North Dakota Senate race, Kevin Cramer has won re-election. Out of the Pennsylvania Senate race, this is we have the first seat that failed for Republicans as they targeted this seat heavily. Bob Casey Jr. has won in the Pennsylvania Senate race, as they were targeting the two big Rust Belt seats, Michigan and Pennsylvania. Though right now, Brian Calley is currently leading over Debbie Stabenow, albeit by over 1,000 votes. But Bob Casey Jr. Has won re-election in Pennsylvania, as Republicans failed to file a good candidate in Pennsylvania. In the Wyoming Senate race, John Barrasso has won re-election. In the North Dakota governor race, Lieutenant Governor Brent Sanford has won. It is now 10 p.m. and the following states have poll closing. Out of Iowa, it is too close to call. John James currently has a lead in the state. In Montana, John James is the projected winner. Nevada, too close to call. John James currently leading. Out of Utah, it is projected to go to John James. Out of Colorado, we can now say that it will go to Elizabeth Warren. Bernie Bro Country, very supportive of Elizabeth Warren, despite the fact that she has betrayed Bernie Sanders twice now. Out of New Mexico, it is projected to go to Elizabeth Warren. Maine at large now being projected to go to Elizabeth Warren. Big call for Democrats. It's a state that was targeted by Republicans big time. New Hampshire, this is a flip from 2020. New Hampshire slipped back into the Democrat column, albeit narrowly. Elizabeth Warren has narrowly won New Hampshire. Out of Pennsylvania, John James is the projected winner. Out of Florida, another major flip as Republicans went there not as many times as Elizabeth Warren did. Warren went there roughly 5 to 6 times, as John James only went there once or twice, as they saw Florida as a Republican household now, thanks as they thought Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump would keep the state red for at least a while. It looks like Elizabeth Warren has flipped Florida, a state that is, which proves that Florida is still a toss-up state. Out of Arizona, too close to call. Elizabeth Warren currently leading. Michigan, too close to call. John James is leading. Minnesota, too close to call. A virtual tie between the two candidates, but John James is leading by roughly 100 to 200 votes. Out of Nebraska, second, too close to call. John James is leading. Out of Texas, too close to call. John James is leading. Out of Wisconsin, too close to call. John James is leading in the state. Here's the current electoral map thus far. John James is currently leading 186 to 66 with 100 pending electoral votes. We now have a call of the Florida Senate race. Wayne Massam has defeated incumbent Senator Rick Scott, as it can be cited that Wayne Massam was held by Senator by Senator Warren, which helped flip the seat blue. A second failed Republican takeover in the state of Florida as they heavily campaigned in Florida, but it seems like it was all for naught as Wayne Sam is projected to win in Florida. However, a big gain for Republicans in the Maine Senate race. Paul LePage has flipped the Maine Senate seat. This was Angus King's seat, an independent from Maine. Both of our independent senators are gone now, and they've been replaced by Republicans, Phil Scott in Vermont, and now Paul LePage in Maine. Both of them being flips to the Republican column, as both independents caucused with the Democrats. Out of Utah, Mitt Romney is the projected winner. Out of the Utah governor race, Spencer Cox has won re-election. It is now 11 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. Out of California, Elizabeth Warren is the projected winner. Out of Hawaii, Elizabeth Warren is the projected winner. Idaho is being projected to go to John James. Oregon projected to go to Elizabeth Warren. Washington projected to go to Elizabeth Warren. Iowa is now being projected to go to John James. Arizona, we can now say, can go to Elizabeth Warren. Now, Warren is the projected winner in Arizona, winning it by 1 or 2 percentage points more than Joe Biden did back in 2020. Nebraska's 2nd district projected to go to John James, a flip from 2020. Joe Biden narrowly won the state, but it looks like John James was won it by 3 to 4 percentage points. Texas projected to go to John James. He is won it by an even more narrow margin than Trump did back in 2020. Trump won it by 6 to 7 percentage points. John James was won it by 3 to 4 percentage points. Texas is starting to become more and more blue, and that is a bad sign for Republicans. Nevada, a flip in Nevada, actually. Nevada has flipped red this election cycle as John James has won the state of Nevada, a state that was targeted by Republicans in both the Senate and presidential races. Now just let's see if they can win it in the Senate race. But John James is the projected winner in Nevada, as it has been trending with more and more red these past few election cycles. In Michigan, John James has won his home state by roughly 1 to 2 percentage points, as it was a state Trump barely won back in 2020 and 2016, winning it by less than 1. John James is able to break that tilt margin and make it lean to tilt red significantly. We don't know if Democrats will be able to win again in the Rust Belt. Maybe if Republicans were to follow a bad candidate, but as of right now, we don't know. In Minnesota, Elizabeth Warren is currently leading. In Wisconsin, John James currently leading. Here's the current electoral map. John James leading 259 to 257 with 19 pending electoral votes. It is anyone's race still, as Warren could end up winning. Well, technically, you need to win both Minnesota and Wisconsin to win, technically. Or John James can end up winning in Alaska and winning Wisconsin, and he wins the election. Elizabeth Warren needs to win both Wisconsin and Minnesota, though it is highly unlikely, as she is only leading in Minnesota, and John James is leading in Wisconsin. Out of the Arizona Senate race, Kyrsten Sinema has won re-election. Out of the California Senate race, Gavin Newsom has defeated incumbent Dianne Feinstein. Very popular governor, Gavin Newsom. He attempted the presidency, he failed, he ran for Senate, he won big. Well, he won big. He gained first place in the primary. He didn't break 50% though. He won 42%. Dianne Feinstein won 40%. They went off to a runoff tonight, and Gavin Newsom is the projected winner. Out of the Hawaii Senate race, Mazi Hirono is the projected winner, winning re-election. Out of the Michigan Senate race, another flop for Republicans. Brian Kelly was not able to beat Debbie Stabenow. Debbie Stabenow won by 1 to 2 percentage points. The Michigan Senate seat that Debbie Stabenow now holds stays blue for another 6 years. Out of the Montana Senate race, good news for Republicans. Congressman from Montana's 2nd District, Greg Gianforte, has flipped Montana Senate seat that John Tester holds. This is a flip for Republicans. Republicans tried this 2018, they failed, and they're trying again with Greg Gianforte, who failed in his governor bid, his bid for governor back in 2020, albeit narrowly. But Greg Gianforte is the projected winner in Montana, flipping the seat red. And the Nevada Senate race, a flop for Republicans. They attempted this. They tried to get the former governor to run in Nevada. He wouldn't run. They filed a bad candidate, and Jackie Rosen has won re-election in Nevada. in the Texas Senate race, Ted Cruz has won re-election by a bigger margin than he did back in 2018. He's won by 3 to 4 percentage points. But though, it is still unclassified as lean, as a lot of pundits thought this seat was going to be close. Ted Cruz has issues with likability, but it still cruised him to re-election. Get it, Cruz, yeah. Out of the Washington Senate race, Mariah Cantwell has won re-election. The woman that looks like Scarlett Johansson. Out of the Wisconsin Senate race, another seat Republican attempted to flip a gun. Tammy Baldwin, the first openly gay senator in the Senate, has won re-election. Out of the Montana governor race, Mike Cooney has won re-election, winning by 2 to 3 percentage points. Out of the Washington governor race, Jay Inslee has won himself an unprecedented 4th term for the seat. A lot of people thought he was going to end up running for Senate, but he did not. He declined the offer, instead running for another term as the governor. It is now 1 a.m. and the following states have poll closings. In Alaska, John James is the projected winner. Wisconsin, this is a state both candidates needed to win the presidency, and it looks like John James has won the state of Wisconsin. This was a very close race, but John James has won Wisconsin. However, in Minnesota, our closest race that I can have by my data right now, Elizabeth Warren has won the state of Minnesota narrowly, which is a bad sign for Democrats in the future. And we now can make a call that John James has been elected the President of the United States. He will become the 46th President of the United States and the 2nd African-American President ever elected to the office, right behind President Barack Obama. President-elect John James will be sworn into office January 21st, 2025. Here is the final electoral map. John James narrowly winning the popular vote 272 to 266. However, he won the popular vote by 3 percentage points, winning it 51 to 48. Here is the marginal map, of course, of our closest races were, of course, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Florida, New Hampshire, and Maine at large. States that will become crucial in the 2028 election, we would all assume. Of course, some other states that could end up becoming crucial in 2028 would be Montana, Kansas. We could see Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey end up being competitive next time around. But we just have to wait another 4 years to find out. But anyway, guys, this is the Chaotic One saying peace.